Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you all for being here. So we're going to continue our conversation as it relates to how do we intercede truly and connect back to the peace, the serenity, and the liberation of God, and deeper and more profound understanding of what happened to us when we remain in that stillness. I have shared with you from day one that the foundational stone for all the work that we're doing up to this point is the torsion field. Now get yourself a chair or sit on your bed, but you need to be erect, torso. Um, you cannot be horizontal. You cannot be laying down when you're doing this. Otherwise, it's going to make you pass out and sedate you. This is why when I'm giving healing to somebody, they are laying down on the bed, on the healing bed, because they are supposed to be sedated. You need to be erect, either walking or torso sitting up on a chair or somewhere. This is very key. Second thing I'm going to remind you, those are basic foundational stuff. The torsion field of the guardian of light are coming from a collective of 12 galactic, actually higher dimensional elders that hold the energy of neutrality in all dimensions of time and space. Which means that when they come in, they are offering as a gesture of generosity, love, and mercy the peace that they understand in the dimension that they are in, and they're entangling it into our own energy grid with our consent. Because as the meditation begins and the guardian lines of light approach you, offering to gift you their shields of light and protection and a band of neutrality, if you're ready to accept this gift at this time, answer affirmatively. And you have, at this point, when I'm saying this, I usually wait. You need to say yes.
Yes.
Okay, and when you agree, then they are able to come in. The other thing is that after every torsion field gets created, you have to be grateful for the gift that you're receiving. Okay, that part is extremely important. uh, and I want to share with you that the guardians and the work that they are providing us is basically the quantum energy of neuron as a quantum particle, which is 0 point energy, and that does not interact basically with anything else. And it's abundant and it's everywhere, but it doesn't really interact with anything else. But what it gives us is peace. The neutrality at its core is peace. Complete surrender, being completely unburdened, and every attachment is removed, and it creates peace. It is the Guardian Alliance of Light is actually a collective, a vehicle that Lord Melchizedek is using to teach us, because he's the King of Salem, which means he's the King of Peace. And this is what he's trying to help us achieve. Become the agent that will bring peace to the world. The rest of the world will not get it. This is not for the mass. The mass will not get it. They will think it's either too simple, or it's silly, or it's too complicated and too difficult. And what I'm asking them, if you want to do, is too complicated. As you remember, when we started doing this in 2009 and 2008, there were, I had all these people. You are the remainer. And why you remain, it's because this calls to your soul. Long ago, you received a message from Spirit, and you came in to do exactly that. This is your Dharma. Whereas a lot of these other people were attracted to this idea of being a Melchizedek priest or priestess without the necessary emotional and subconscious and shadow work, basically the inner work that needs to happen in order for you to have the moral and ethical responsibility to hold such important power. And that part is key because there is great power in it and there is great responsibility. You wouldn't think that something like mercy or neutrality would have power, but it does, because if you're properly merciful, you can begin to understand and comprehend and release and let go of so many things, not only internal to you, but also to everyone else outside of you. You can understand and comprehend in a way that is not otherwise possible. Because most people on the planet, what are they doing? They come in, when you're interacting with them, they're coming from frontal lobe. And what they're doing is that they're adding up, subtracting, and when you're talking to them, they're trying to calculate how do they respond to you to sound intelligent. I had a conversation yesterday with a dear friend of mine on the phone, and I've been helping him with his writing and helping him edit and all that. And during the course of the conversation, he asked me a couple of questions, and I began to answer it. And the way he was answering me, and I could see it, it was so clear, because I was already in the torsion field in such peace. He was responding frontal lobe. It was his ego. He wanted to tell me all the things that he knew. Whereas what I was trying to help him understand is that the stuff is energetic. And when you need to feel it. You don't need to respond by telling me, oh, I remember this when I was in class, when I was at Columbia, and when I did this, and none of that stuff is important. You need to have an experience of it. And this is what the torsion field allows to happen. Because what the torsion field really is, when each guardian come in, what they bring you is a magnetic, energetic, and an emotional understanding of the neutrality that they know in 4D, 7D, 12D, 14D, that they know. And that is a projection, an act of kindness and mercy from their part. And when that projection comes on top of you, it creates a volume, an energetic volume around you that begins to vibrate you in a way that takes you in a transcendental state. I have said this to you, and I'm so glad that I'm at the point where now you're beginning to understand this. I have what I'm teaching you now, which are the deep inner secrets on how to do this. I've been saying the same words to you since 2010 and 2009, but I have been unable to explain it correctly. What happened is that when you have a transcendental experience, where you experience the divine or higher dimension, it is extremely complicated to try to explain this to somebody in normal language. And Lord Melchizedek knew this. And what did he do? He gave us he gave me the mechanic of the torsion field as a way to shift you into that same frequency. In other words, for you to know what the torsion, what the neutrality is in 7D or 9D, you have to experience it. We have an old proverb back in the Caribbean that says you have to know there to go there. Unless you experience it, there is no language that I can use to communicate this to you correctly, because it will always be a caricature to the real experience of being enveloped and being shifted into these higher, the neutrality in this higher dimension. So this is the gift that the guardian is giving us, the gift of an expansion, an elevation into this energetic understanding. So, and I've shared with you that the way I do it now is that I do a long version in the morning. Take me about 25 minutes. I do the long version, which is the meditation I'm going to share with you at the end. I do a short version multiple times throughout the day, which means what I would be walking and in contemplation going to the park. I would be in the grocery store. I would be walking down the street going to pick up my dry cleaning. And as I'm walking, I have 3 blocks. It takes me 3 minutes to do it. And it doesn't take long, because by now, having done the torsion field over and over and over again, your body knows what it's supposed to do. I call the guardian in, I give them permission, and then I I I I simply think 3 points. Torsion field counter rotating, coming from the core of the earth. The first one, the core of the earth, passing through my core, exiting at the top of the fourth dimensional body, torsion field created. And I let energetically, I pause at that point and I let energetically that gift to anchor in me, to sense how I'm being shifted, what that anxiety feels like. And if I'm walking, I'm still paying attention to the traffic, to people walking, to what's happening around me, but I'm in contemplation, right? And at the same time, I'm aware energetically, my core is straight, this volume is being created around me, and I'm in neutrality. Second guardian comes in, extending above the fourth dimension, top of the fifth dimension, rotating clockwise, passing through my core, going through the bottom of my feet, creating all around me, like an umbrella opening upside down, wrapping around me, creating a nested torsion field on top of the first one. And I let the energetic, I wait for a moment, for a few seconds, for me to sense the entire energetic shift that this is creating for me. Third guardian comes in at the core of the earth, okay? Counter rotating, moving through my core, exit 3 points, exiting at the top of the sixth dimensional body, and creating neutrality all around me. And I wait again for the energy. And I do this for every torsion field all the way back to the 12th guardian until the entire system is created. It takes no more than 3 minutes. And 3 minutes is being generous. And the moment it's done, I am inside the bubble throughout, and I can feel at that moment that I am in the rest and the serenity and the peace of God, because I am so tall and so transcendental by that point. And energetically in my mind's eye and in my core, I can feel the light moving through my core. I can sense how far the energy extends. And I'm doing it multiple times throughout the day. And as somebody had asked, if you do it once, the torsion field can be in 4 hours. It is absolutely true. This is when you're doing it for you. But the reason why I'm doing it as I'm walking around the city and I'm doing other things, it's because there is so much distress and chaos and fear and panic in the world. And when I'm being guided by Spirit and I'm walking around, I realize that the distress that surrounds me, the people around me, need a broadcast of this neutrality, because what I am, what we all are, is a transformer to take this highly level neutrality all the way in the 15th dimension and bring all of it down into the 3D to allow individual through my DNA, because now I am a celestial, a star seed that's incarnated on earth. I have a physical body and I share DNA with them. I am able to transduce and entrain them into the neutrality energetically that I know as I'm sitting in the park, or as I'm walking down the grocery store, or as I'm walking down the street, or as I'm sitting on the bus or on the train. This is extremely important, because that part of repeating the short version of the torsion field multiple times is an act of service. And I'm going to tell you something else I do as well. When I'm doing yoga and I do the standing tree, I go in my position, and Melton knows as a yoga teacher, master teacher. So I go standing tree, my leg goes up on one side. As I stand in that position, I do the entire torsion field in one leg. Then when I go in the other leg, I do the same leg as well.
Wow. So 12 and 12 on each side?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Cool. Does it feel different when
my God.
Really?
And not only that, but everyone at the gym is attracted to me. They keep running toward me because I can feel the peace. It radiates out.
Wow. I'm going to have to try that.
Yes. It's potent. It's actually potent.
Wow.
People run to you. They're like, wow, what are you doing? They don't know why they're attracted.
Wow. Love it.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you are not only in the yoga position that's bringing that peace, but you're now energetically being shifted into the 15th dimension from the core of the earth all the way back into the throne room of God.
Wow. Yeah. That'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I had a group of friends because I'm always the same time at the gym, or I'm a same. They would literally come and try to rub it. You could tell that because the energy was so good that they would come and put their mat right next to me. They would, because that part
They
feels
feel
so
it.
good for them. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. I love it. I will test drive these. Let me know how
Go
it
for it.
went.
Go for it. Go for it. And so I'm telling you, it's extraordinary. The first time I did it on one leg, and I'm like, no, and then I went back, and I'm like, let's go on the other leg and try that one too, because it feels so good.
No, it's gotta do
Yes, yes, yes. All right. So I wanna share with you something else. The world is changing very rapidly, and I follow this climate scientist because we're talking about the weather, the fires in Europe, the fires in Oregon and Washington, the fires in Canada, all kind of crazy stuff, or floods and all kinds of earthquakes. There is a climate scientist that I follow very closely. I like him a lot because not only does he give you space weather in terms of solar storms and everything else, but he also talks about the pole, the north to south pole reversal. And I want to talk about this in some detail to explain to you the ins and outs of that particular event that's upcoming. And according to the latest study that he was talking about in the channel, that this is something that's going to start happening now within less than 10 years. Scientists were saying the opposite, that it's going to take over another 1,000 years. All the evidence are there that it's the exact opposite. And I've been saying this to you. And at the time of the North to South Pole reversal, because right now the North Pole, who formerly was in Alaska, is now in the Bering Strait between Alaska and Siberia and Russia. And it's moving very quickly toward the Pacific and heading toward basically the same parallel latitude as Japan. Not on top of Japan, it's actually toward Russia, but it's going to go down in that direction. And there is a point where the magnetic north is going to be shifting so much that it will cause, there's a point of no return. It will accelerate. Right now, the movements were very slow. Every so many years, it moves. Like the latest time they were talking about, like every year it moves 40 miles, and right now it's accelerating. As it gets closer and closer to the equator, it's going to start accelerating more and more. Okay? And the reason this is important, it's because the core of the earth, the core of Gaia, it's made of a solid iron mass that's rotating, surrounded by a liquid iron, almost like a lubricant. However, and I want to explain this, it's not that the north and the south, that Alaska is going to come the South Pole. That's not what will happen. It's the magnetic north and south that will shift, right? But it's going to cause the tectonic plates to rub against each other. And as the pole, and connected to this, what's exciting it, because What's causing the magnetosphere of the planet, the magnetic field of the Earth, is opposite polarity. The iron core has a certain electrical charge. The ionosphere of the planet has a different charge. And it's the differential between the two that create the magnet, that protect us from cosmic debris and astral stuff that's coming from asteroid and all kinds of things. What's happening now is that because of the shift that's already started to happen, the magnetosphere of the planet is extremely weak. So a C-class solar flare is registering as an X-class solar flare because there is not enough defense to hold the energy back. And why I'm saying this is that these solar particles are coming in at such strength that they are now pushing the north to south pole flip more and more, and thus participating in the tectonic shift that's causing earthquake and all kind of strange weather patterns. It's not just because we're increasing in carbon monoxide. That part is true as well, but the major contributor has to do with the sun and the flip of the north to south pole. Now here comes the deep dive and the spiritual part. The iron core is not 100% iron. There are other metals that are in there, like copper, like nickel, like steel. There are other things that are in there, okay? And because of this, the conductivity of these other metals are different than that of iron. They conduct electricity at different charges. And when the north to south pole, when the pole begins to cross to get close to the equator, we will end up having multiple north to south pole, where, for example, the conductivity of copper will create its own north to south axis. The conductivity of nickel will create its own north to south axis. And each one of them, and at the time when this will happen, it will cause navigational problem because the ships, both by sea and by plane, by air, rely on the compass. And as a matter of fact, several runways around the planet had to be repainted because when a pilot lands, because of they're already shifting north to south pole, the longitude and latitude and where they land is marked on the runway. And because the instrumentation is going to show something else, they're going to get confused and not be able to land in the right place. Right? Why I'm saying this is because each north to south pole axis that's now going to be separated is a different, it's the center of a parallel reality. And during that time of the north to south pole flip, it will be the 3 days of darkness. And during that time of the 3 days of darkness, the other parallel realities will begin to separate with each other, and taking with it the individuals who have energetically identified that they're going to go, let's say, for example, in the medicine world, or the people who are identifying that they're going to the do nothing kind of reality. We're not doing any effort. We're not doing nothing. We're the ostriches. We're going to put our head in the sand. There are multiple parallel realities in my book, Toward the Future. All of that is detailed out. I just wanted to explain this to you to make you understand, because this event is close to us, as now proven by a lot of scientists who are doing all this research, and they're publishing these things. And I had channeled those chapters, the chapter on the book that's called The Future Horizon. They're channeling that describe everything that I'm telling you right now. Right? Why is this important? Not only because it's an event that we're all going to live through, but more to the point is that we, when we do the torsion field, are also creating a north and south polarity in our own body and energy system. And when we do beyond time and space, we are creating an exception to take and entrain all the people who have aligned to go to the new earth into that higher reality. We ourselves, not the metals in the core of the earth, we're gonna anchor and hold with Gaia. Okay? We're gonna hold everybody in to move into the future earth because we are creating an exception. Any questions, any comments? Okay.
I do have a question.
Yes.
The if well, I think I got it. But I'm gonna ask anyway. The I mean, the people who, you have to get you know, their permission, right? If they're going to do that. So if everybody who is supposed to go, I suppose they will go with you.
Okay, there are two things going on.
Okay.
Your question is a question inside of it. Okay, so your comment has a question inside of it. So there are two things going on.
Okay.
You can entrain other people because it's a broadcast.
Okay.
Meaning, I am going to release the peace and the serenity that I know out of love and compassion to the rest of the world. I am not entangling with you. I'm not trying to tell you that you must go there. I'm not obligating you. I am just releasing love and compassion and the peace and the serenity that I know, and I'm releasing it to the world. It's a broadcast. It's like a radio station that's being broadcast everywhere.
Okay.
For you to go into it as for example, if you don't go in the right frequency for a radio station, you're not going to hear anything.
Right.
So you have to, over time, if you're exposed to it, you might want to say, because I go, for example, in the park and sit at the same place and I do the meditation every day, and the people that I see, and one day somebody, and it already happened. Somebody says to me, "What are you doing? Are you meditating? Something about you feels great." And the next thing you know, conversation, they're buying my book and they're doing the work. So so over time, somebody may decide by you brushing against them and releasing the freedom that you know, the liberation that you know, that suddenly they will feel like, I like this energy. It will remind them that they have a choice. On the other hand, there are other people who are dedicated to doing the work. Let's say the people that I meet in the park are interested and they are saying to me now, how do I do the work? Then I'm going to need their permission. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you're going to go in, one is just a broadcast. It's a release. The whole universe will hear it. The other one is, if you want to be in my bus and walk with me, I need your permission.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? In our continuing conversation, what I want to go over is what happened when I am now coming in at the end of creating the torsion field. Okay? 12 Guardian comes in, rotating clockwise, dropping from the 15th dimension, passing through my core, going all the way into the core of the earth, and creating all around me a torsion field of neutrality. And I'm now observing in my core, whether I'm walking and in my mind's eyes, I can see the energy, like light beams running through me, and I can feel the energy all around me, or my eyes are closed, it doesn't matter. And as I'm doing this, I begin to feel there is a synchronization that happens when all of the torsion field are working together. A very specific sensation of utter rest, of complete stillness that is beyond any comprehension. And when I enter into that synchronization, I am now in front of the throne room of God. It is not, you see, people keep thinking that being in front of God is a beam of light blinding you and you prostrating yourself in front of the floor. These are the dramatic for movies and for, for lyrical and dramatic expression. It is not the way it feels. Energetically, it is a complete being, completely unburdened, with no attachments to anything, completely releasing all attachment to everything, and being in a state of such deep and profound surrender that you are in awe that you feel so good. You are in utter awe, and a lot of time people a lot of time when they're doing this, they think that they pass out because they are so catatonic that at the moment they think they go blank because they have no thought. And what does it's marked, for example, when you're in that state, you have no thought. People keep thinking that I go somewhere because I went blank. It's because there is no attachment. Yes, you did go blank, but you did not go to sleep. You released everything. You released everything so completely that there is no link or attachment that's connecting you to anything. And because of this, it causes a completely different state of awareness that is unlike anything that's 3D low, because we always have the monkey mind running where all of a sudden no thought. If you sit after all of this is done and you're watching the synchronization of all the torsion field inside of you, and you're staying quiet and you're staying in that stillness, it's going to feel at moment that you go blank. And more importantly, it's that, and the truth being is that you're in such profound neutrality that you're outside of time and space. You're going to think at moment that you go blank for 2 hours and you were there for 10 minutes. Or the opposite, that you were there for 10 minutes and you've been there for 45 minutes. And when you're in that state, you're receiving the most profound healing possible. Because the blessed field, basically you're in the throne room of God. And the blessed field knows what you need. And it's going to provide it to you. Energetically, magnetically, emotionally. And when you're in that rest, the other effect is that because there is no agitation, no polarity, and because you're so deeply neutral, suddenly you're going to be like in stillness. And you're going to begin to listen. What I mean to say by this is that the pitch in your ear is going to increase, and you're going to feel as if, what's the way to describe this? So there's a part of me when I'm in that blessed place that still is trying to navigate, although I am disoriented. I am deeply and profoundly disoriented because it's unlike anything I know in 3D. But there's a part of me that's still trying to navigate it, trying to understand it. And the only way that I can understand it is by listening. I need to silence that person. And so when I'm in that state, I'm navigating, and I need to figure out a way in which, as I'm sitting in this, that I am listening to what's happening around me. Because it feels like I am in an endless volume that has no end to it. An immense and huge volume. And all kinds of beneficial, magnetic, emotional, and energetic things are floating about me. And I'm trying, with the part of me that's still conscious, connected to the 3D, I am trying to listen. And as I listen, I am listening as if the more than 50 trillion cells in my body had ears. And I don't mean by that physical ears. I am saying now listening energetically, listening with your soul, with everything that you've got. What do I really mean? Complete and utter receptivity. Because you're being blessed by grace. You have a cascade of divine things that are floating about you. So you open yourself up so that you can be receptive to all of the gifts and all the blessing that all the benevolent stuff that are floating about you. This is why I keep telling you, having done this for so many years, since 2008, my real gift is that I listen extremely well. Because it sounds like something very passive, because it's not telekinetic, you're not pushing energy, you're not levitating off the ground, you're not doing any of that stuff. But it's so potent because you're now in the throne room of God. Every piece of knowledge, understanding, insight that exists in the entire multiverse is touching down onto you. Whatever you may need that the universe deemed necessary at that moment, it's going to bring it to you. And it's going to be something that you were not thinking about. An insight. Sometimes I go in there and I'm just, as I say, in awe. I'm enjoying the fact that the wig is off and I don't have any burden. I'm just sitting there, just enjoying everything, and then suddenly, an insight. And it comes so quickly, it's like you blink your eye and it goes away. So, wait a minute, did I? It's like a flash. Well, you all know it because you have experienced it. It's like a flash that just hit you. And then it seems to go away. You're like, wait a minute, something happened. And those insights, when they're coming in, it's a complete pocket of knowing. Complete. It's like a module of information. And when it comes in, sometimes it is about somebody else that's in crisis at that very moment. I've done classes where I'm in that meditation, I'm doing it, all of a sudden there was an insight. Tell so-and-so that they have this problem in their home. And when I report this to the person after the class, the next day when they call the utility company, exactly the same problem, the problem that I reported exists, and they're thanking me for saving their life. There is no way I, Pierre, would have known this. Literally, like in between breath, in the retention of the breath, all of a sudden, that information just came in. Receptivity. Listen so deeply, and it's going to give you insight. So, everything that I'm teaching you, every time I do a meditation before class and I prepare like 2 hours before, as I do the meditation, what I'm supposed to talk about comes. The blessed field just brings it. These classes are channeled, and when I come to the class, the doorway is already open. I don't know all the detail what's going to come out, but the basic seed idea of what I'm supposed to talk about drops in. And the moment I begin to talk, it happened automatically. Now, the same is true, for example, when I am with a client. When I'm with somebody who's telling me their story, because I listen well. So when they are talking to me and telling me about their struggle, their burden, and the distress that they have, as I'm listening to them, I'm listening in that manner where my entire soul and consciousness is listening to them. And because I'm listening so carefully, with the neutrality in all dimensions of time and space, suddenly they say something, and I realize I'm looking at them, but there is a jump. They jump over something. And it's typically because there is a trauma that they are not looking at. There's something that's unresolved. There's stuck energy. It's like somebody jumping over a course of hurdles. It's like all of a sudden there is a jump. And I say, excuse me, I'm sorry. Could you go back and repeat this again? What did you just say about X, Y, Z? And when they go back and repeat it, then when I see it again, I bring it to their attention. And a lot of time when I ask them to repeat it again, a little vignette shows up. Sometimes it's not one vignette, it's multiple. The key is that the moment you begin to observe yourself in connection, when you get past the 12th dimension, and you begin to navigate with that feel and that sense of synchronization and rest is, what's going to happen is that a whole other ball game, a whole different sense of your relationship to the universe and God is going to be created. Initially, I was so disoriented, I didn't know where I was. I spent months, if not 6 or 8 months, going into that place and still turning my head and trying to, I don't know where I am. But it felt good to be there, so I kept going back. And it was eventually that I realized, my God, it is the throne room of God. That's where I am. That endless space. It's infinity times infinity. You won't, and the other thing as well, you don't have a body when you're in there. You're aware that you exist, but you don't have a physical body. You have a presence, but you don't have a body. And as this is going on, you will begin to realize that the that listening, that ability to kind of like be so receptive and let the universe, that God knows better than you. God knows where all the kinks are in your energy grid. God knows what you need to learn. And if you keep going back and you're surrendering to it, the next part that you need to learn, the next you know, what do you call this? The piece of resistance that exists in your subconscious mind. The next part that needs to heal, it's going to show up. And when it shows up, you will know it. Oh my God, this is what I need to deal with. This is what I need to repair. And it's going to work faster because now God is bringing it directly to you. It is not you confronting a suppressed and repressed issue that you have been suppressing for the past 3 lifetimes. And when you repress and suppress these things, they come as a mirror in the physical world, and they are very violent because they hit with you. Whereas this, it's by grace. It's such a deep and profound insight. It's an instant knowing, and you're like, this is the problem that I've been dealing with. Moreover, these issues internal to you are gonna be like the roots of a tree. There's gonna be a tributary other issue attached to them, because we're a very old being and we've been fractured for a long time. There's going to be a main branch, and then from there other little things are going to branch out. And you're going to deal with them one at a time. Heal one at a time. Not all of them at once, because you're going to be overwhelmed. One at a time. Any questions, any comments? Okay, let's talk about being in this blessed field, listening, and beginning to see the future. It may sound like I'm all over the place, but I'm not, because all of these gifts will begin to unpack for you when you begin to acclimate yourself to the blessed field. And the reason I'm saying this to you is that there might be a tendency in some of us, because we're busy and we're doing 3,000 things at the same time, to do the torsion field as fast as we can so that we can move on to the next to-do thing on our list. You're doing yourself a disfavor. That's why I'm saying do the short version while you're on the bus, while you're on the train, when you're walking. Because if you do it in 2 minutes and you spend the next 10 minutes in that contemplation of being in awe or being in silence and listening, the benefit will far surpass the 10 minutes that you're staying in it. And you will realize over time that you need to spend more time in that space, because the healing is so profound and so deep that everything around you is coming back together. So one of the gifts that happen when you go into that space is that because you become so unburdened about what's happening around you in the world, that at time the future horizon will show up. Now, because the blessed field, this realm that you're going to be in, quantum field, whatever you want to call it, throne room of God, whatever, because it is so profoundly multi-dimensional, everything that exists in that field is a potential for manifestation. And there exists an endless number of solutions set for any one problem. Let's say you're bringing in something that relates to you finding a job, or a relationship issue, or as it relates to you and family member, or you and a student, you and a client, and whatever it is that it may be. When you bring that issue in, the reason why, when you, let's say, first you at rest, you're on the peace, and then the intention is, help me resolve this. Give me the wisdom to know what to say to this person. How do I handle the situation with divine grace? When you go in and you ask this question, what's going to happen is that suddenly, like this, the universe, you're going to feel all kinds of things floating around you. Because it's not just one solution to it. There is trillions of ways in which you can react, act, or respond to this. And the blessed field is going to bring, giving the current situation and where everything is headed, the blessed field is going to bring you to your attention the possibilities that are most likely to happen. In some instances, it might be one thing, but in my experience, it's typically more than one thing. And again, it's a flash. Because at that point, I'm so unburdened, I'm not really trying to solve the problem. And again, I've shared with you before, when you go in the blessed field, what you're bringing is a sketch, a stick figure idea. Help me resolve or respond to this relationship with divine grace. It's a sketch. You have no attachment on how it goes, and the more neutral you are, the more you're going to see. Because if you have an attachment because you're afraid, if it happened this way, I'm going to be hurt. If it doesn't happen that way, it's not going to be good for me. If you have all this attachment, it's gonna narrow the scope of what you actually see. The universe will bring you, because if you're not prepared to see something, you're not going to see it. If you're afraid of it, you're going to create a blockage, a filter that will not allow you to see anything but what you are willing to accept. So as you sit quietly and you begin to ponder upon whatever it is that's going on, and etc., and suddenly 3 things shows up or 4 things shows up, it's because you're so neutral to the outcome that all of the possibilities that are most likely are appearing at the same time. I've had experiences where 8 things were showing up at the same time. Now, not all of them were in the same focus, because a lot of them were maybe 5% to 15%. But a few of them were sharper and clearer. They were the ones that are most likely to fall down and happen in the future, to precipitate. And that precipitate, in the channeling, the Galactic Regent Council called that a wave function collapse. This is when possibilities precipitate into physical reality. That's the term, wave function collapse. There is a moment where if you're seeing one thing, it's because, and you're completely neutral, it's because that future has already been decided. This is the thing that's going to happen. I can tell you honestly, with me, that if it shows up in my dream, it doesn't appear in meditation, but it shows up in my dream and I see it, it's 2 weeks out, the future is already decided. It's going to happen. It's less than 2 weeks out. If it shows up in my meditation, in my practice, it's distant. It's more distant. But if it's already in my dream, prepare yourself, it's going to happen. Sometimes the awareness of the future can become a burden. Particularly when one or two of the outcome appears uncomfortable for the people involved. I mean, I had a dream September 9/11 on the 5th. I dreamed, I saw the whole thing collapse. I saw the towers collapse in my dreams. I didn't know what it was. I was confused. Okay, particularly when it shows up in your dream. There are several types of dreams. There are dreams when you have them where you know the dream is related to something in your subconscious mind. It's an archetype, it's a trauma, it's some stuck energy of some kind, it's something personal to you. But there are dreams which I call the big dreams. They have nothing to do with you. And they're completely related to the whole planet. It's the collective unconscious, it's the karma of the planet, it's something that's going to happen related to the planet. And when that happens, then I have to be very careful how I deal with the information. Because knowing me and my dreams, if I see it, I have to immediately, I ask all of you, for example, if it's something catastrophic, to go into prayer to see if we can. At that point, that future is already decided. It's going to land. But how it lands will depend on our intercession or collective intercession. If enough people pray, if it's something catastrophic, it's going to land softly. I remember having an experience in which there was a dream about I saw a tsunami. This is several years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago. And more than 5 years, 5 or 6 years ago. I saw a tsunami, 6 years ago. I saw a tsunami. And it was big, like 200-foot wave, and it's very scary. I was climbing a wall trying to escape it, and I saw all of these people that were wearing Muslim garb, with the face cover. And at first I thought I was in Brooklyn somewhere, and all of a sudden I realized it was a Muslim. Anyway, you know how the way dreams are. And I got up, and I shared this with Georgia. I remember telling him what I saw, because he has also prophetic dreams. And we talked about it, and then I let it go. A week and a half later, him and I met for lunch at our favorite Thai restaurant. That morning, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, the same dream, but this time I'm somewhere Asian different continent possibly. And this time the tsunami happened, but the water, and by the way, in the interim, because of what happened, I had asked all of you to pray and ask for mercy. Right? And this time it happened, but the water is only up to my knee. And the water came in, the sea came in, and it withdrew back. And I was able to get to safety. And I woke up from the dream. And I told him the dream when we were having lunch. Right before we were finishing, I said, oh, by the way, I had the dream of the tsunami. This is what I saw, blah, blah, blah. I literally walked home, 30 minutes, came back home. The moment I opened the computer, the tsunami, there was an underground volcano in Tonga that erupted, created a tsunami. The height of the tsunami was about 3 feet. And it withdrew. Exactly what I saw. So the possibility, even in the instance that something catastrophic is perceived, we can collectively intercede and ask God for mercy so that the lending of it, the planet needs to learn. And sometimes the difficulty and the struggle is the way we learn. But we can ask for mercy so that the landing is softer. So when you are beginning to perceive and now these little instances where an image or a vignette shows up, or two of them shows up, you can query, by the way, but when you see these things, you can ask them questions. You can actually talk to the blessed field and say which one is the most likely to happen, or you can ask. You can interact with it. Because the universe is talking to you. Any questions or comments? Here is the thing that the final thing I want to share with you. You need to understand that this is only the beginning of what the gift that the field of neutrality of the guardian angel light can bring to you. The moment you begin to navigate into that peace, you will want to go there on a daily basis and multiple times a day, because it's so liberating, and more importantly, when you're understanding that you have a relationship to it, okay, that you're co-creating, whether it is that because you're walking down the aisle or down the street and you're releasing the torsion field for people around you to find neutrality because they're in distress, because the world is so catastrophically, there's so many things that are change are happening so rapidly that it will appear and feel catastrophic to a lot of people. Let's put it this way. And so it's easy, it's better for us to play the role of the peacemaker to make people understand that the change that are happening, that are emerging, are actually good. It's not negative, it's actually good. Right? And so we can broadcast it, we can do all of this and enhance it and bring it forth. And as this happens, it will be stronger and stronger and stronger. Our connection to the field will get stronger and stronger. The last thing I'm going to share with you. Some of us were more empathetic than others, even though we're doing the torsion field multiple times a day, will wake up certain morning feeling a yucky, horrible, energetic feeling in us, or in my instance, multiple times, I shared this with you before, I would wake up feeling, literally, I would be screaming from the top of my lungs, utterly like I'm waking up from as if I'm waking up for a dream, screaming. And I want you to understand what I'm saying. If you wake up and you're beginning to think, I did something wrong, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, it is my fault and my responsibility, I didn't do my practice correctly and all of that and so on and so forth. A lot of time that's not what it is. We are empaths. And there's so many people in your environment, in your circle of influence, that are in such deep and profound distress, fear, and panic, that you're empathing their distress. So the thing you should do immediately, and that awareness is so key and important for us to intercede for them correctly. And this is the role that real spiritual leadership is going to take you into. Immediately, what you need to do is ask yourself the moment you wake up and something like this happens. I have clients of mine who spend 2 or 3 days, a student of mine, who are so sick from the feelings that they're picking up that they cancel their appointment. They think that something is wrong with them. And they're flagellating themselves for being not good enough. When all you have to do when it first happened is this coming from me or is it from the outside? Energy doesn't lie. Is it coming from me or is it coming from the outside? And if the response is it's from the outside, you're empathing. It's not necessarily Archon, it's not necessarily the Demiurge or Satan. It's a lot of time you're empathing. And at that moment when I wake up and I realize this, I do the universal breath. I'm like, I'm not spending the rest of the night, let's say it's 2 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to spend the next hour and a half or the rest of the day with this inside of me and making it my own when it's the collective karma of the planet. So what I'm doing is that I do the universal breath to release that outside of my body. Now, because it came to my attention, I cannot completely dissociate from it. So what I do after doing this, I sit up in the bed and I do now a torsion field, the short version. 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. And when I am now in the rest of God, when I am now in awe of the fact that I am so unburdened and I'm so free, I then broadcast it to the soul I was empathing so that I can entrain them into the peace that I'm now radiating. And this is the deepest and most profound way in which we can support and guide humanity energetically into the new earth. Now, many of you have had moments like this where you wake up and it feels so yucky that you keep thinking that you did something wrong. If you ask that simple question, is this coming from me? That's the key. Because you need to have the discernment to know, is this mine? In other words, is there something in my practice that I need to refine? Is this something internal to me? And if it is, I will do the work that's necessary, like we have done, to process and repair and heal what we need to heal. But if it's from the outside, I have to do something different. And when I release everything, when I do the torsion field and I then broadcast, may the peace and the serenity that I know pass on to all of you who are in distress right now. May the peace, the neutrality that I now am experiencing pass on to all of you. Because I'm not taking the responsibility to fix you. I'm letting God fix you. I'm not involved in the repair and the fixing. Is that making sense? I have clients, students of mine who sometimes they feel so sick they want to vomit because they're feeling nausea. But it's not theirs. They're empathing. They're picking up stuff around them. And because we feel guilty all the time that we're not good enough, we blame ourselves. Don't assume that you're a failure and they are guilty. Just ask the question, is this coming from me or is it coming from the outside? And sometimes it's a combination of two. Let me just say this. Sometimes 10% is yours or 20% is yours. Sometimes, and if you sense it's both, ask what percentage belong to me? What percentage belong to the outside? Sometimes it's both. The outside thing that's catastrophic and big, for example, the feeling of being unsafe. It's not just the karma, the whole planet that feels unsafe, but I am also human on earth. There are moments I feel unsafe too. So 15% or 20% might be mine. But the whole shebang, the reason why I got up and I started screaming from the top of my lung from my sleep, it's because that 80% is not mine. And it's so overwhelming that I'm yelling it out. So if you see that it's from the outside or it's a combination of both, what percentage belong to me? And what is typically, for me and personally, it's a small piece. Because the like attract like. So if you have a piece of it in your core that you're still working on, it will resonate with whatever is happening outside on a bigger scale and make it into, harmoniously connect to it, and all of a sudden, it's a big thing. Any questions or any comments? All right, let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll do the closing meditation. 5 minutes.
Can you send the recording of this class? There was a lot in it.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Yes. Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. And notice what you notice. The extraterrestrials, guardian alliance of light, approach you. Offering to gift you their shields of light and protection and a band of neutrality. If you are ready to accept this gift at this time, answer affirmatively. And let the energy of the first guardian begin in the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of your feet, passing through your core, exiting outside of your head, and going into the top of the fourth-dimensional body, creating all around you the torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of my head extends. And it attracts now the energy of the second guardian, coming in from source, rotating clockwise, passing through the top of my head, moving through my core, and dropping into the core of the earth, and creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the third guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the sixth-dimensional body, while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the top of my head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the fourth guardian, coming in from the top of the seventh dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing into the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet and going into the core of the earth, while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends. And it attracts now the energy of the fifth guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going to the top of the eighth dimensional body, while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts now the energy of the sixth guardian, coming in from source, rotating clockwise, dropping down into the top of the ninth dimensional body, passing through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the top of my at the bottom of my feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the seventh guardian, counter-rotating, coming from the core of the earth, passing through the bottom of my feet, moving through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 10-dimensional body, while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the top of my head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the 8th guardian, cascading down from source while rotating clockwise, dropping into the top of the 11th dimensional body, passing through the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the 9th guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 12th dimensional chakra system, creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the top of my head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the 10th guardian, coming in from source, rotating clockwise, descending into the top of the 13th dimensional chakra system, passing through the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Be gone, time and space. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the 11th guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head and into the top of the 14th dimensional chakra system, and creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Be gone, time and space. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts now the energy of the 12th guardian, coming in from source while rotating clockwise, dropping into the top of the 15th dimensional chakra system, passing now into the top of my head, moving through my core, dropping into the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Be gone, time and space. The axis at the top. May the peace, the serenity, and the rest of God that I know resonate with all aspects of myself that exist in all dimensions of times and space, that I may know the silence, the stillness, and the rest of God. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And again, that alignment that you feel right now, where everything is synchronizing, that's the rest of God. And this is what you pass on to people when you're doing remote healing. May the peace that I know pass on to you, and you broadcast it out.
Thank you, Pierre.
You're welcome. You're all welcome. Thank you, everyone. I want to thank you all for listening. Sending you my love. Thank you. We're almost there. We're getting close. And next year, by the way, the Wesak will be a blue moon Wesak. There will be 2 full moon during the Scorpio full moon in Wesak. It's extremely
Mm,
important. It happens once every 19 years.
wow.
Love you all. Thank you.
I love you.